Okay. What's up, guys? Today, Spaghetti Ben is back, and I'm going to be live streaming and sooner uploading the entire novel or play, I guess you could say, of Macbeth. So, yeah, just going to be reading the whole entire thing. So, we'll see how it goes. So, I guess we can get started. So, I think there's, what? Yeah. Here, I'm just going to have a drink of water really quick before I start. This is going to be long. See how it goes. Oh, let me tilt this down a little bit. Okay. Scene 1, Act 1. Let's do it. When shall... Oh, and by the way, this is a play, so we have all different... These are like, it's conversations between people. So don't think it's like a storyline and not just summaries. It's back and forth speaking. So yeah, here we go. All right, move this up a little bit. When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain? When the Herberley's done, and the battle's lost and won. There will be eerie... I come, Grey Malkin, Paddock calls. Anon, fair is foul, and foul is fair. However, though, the fog and the filthy air. And this is Scene 2, Act 1 of Macbeth. Duncan. What bloody man is that? He can report. It seems his flight of the revolt, the newest state. Malcolm says, this is the sergeant, who like a good hearty soldier fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say the king the knowledge of the broil, and thou didst leave it. Captain says, doubtful it stood, the two spent swimmers that do cling together. Okay, page number 2. And choke their art. The merciless MacDonwald, worthy to be a rebel, for the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles of Kernus and Gallowglasses is supplied. And fortune, his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore, but all's too weak. For brave Macbeth, well, he deserves that name. Brandished steel, which smoked the bloody execution, like Valor's minion, carved out his passage, like he faced a slave, which near shook hands, nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him, the knave to the chaps, and fixed his head upon our battlements. O valiant cousin, worthy gentleman, as hence the Sungins, I don't know what it is. Oh, by the way, don't correct me if you're like some Macbeth, I don't know, you study this Shakespeare shit, because I'm going to be pronouncing 50% of these words wrong. So yeah, we'll continue. As whence the sun gins his reflection, shipwrecking storms of direful thunders break. So from that spring, whence comfort seemed to come, discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, mark. No sooner justice had, with valor armed, compelled these skipping Kernus to trust to their heels. But the Norwegian lord, surveying vantage, with forbidden arms and new supplies of men, began to fresh assault. Duncan says, dismayed not this, our captains Macbeth and Banquo? Captain says, as sparrows, eagles, and the hair, yes, as sparrows, eagles, or the hair of the lion. If I say smooth, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks. So they double strokes upon the foe, except they must meant to bathe in reeking wounds, or memorize another's Golgotha. I cannot tell, but I am faint, my gaseous cry for help. Duncan says, so all thy words become thee as thy sounds. Next page, here we go. They smack of honor both. Go get 'em, surgeons. Exit captain. Enter Rose and Angus. Turning. Who comes here? Malcolm says, the worthy Thane of Ross. Lennox says, what haste looks through his eyes? So should he look the seams and speak things strange. Ross said, God save the king. Duncan says, whence camest thou, worthy Thane? Ross says, From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banners flower the sky and fan our people cold, Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began to dismal conflict, till the Bologna's bridge room, lapped in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirit, and to conclude, the victory fell on us. Duncan says, great happiness. Ross says, that now, Sweno, the Norway's king craves composition, nor would we dine him burial of his men, till he disburred a St. Clum's inch, $10,000 to our general use. Duncan says, no more that Thane Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interests. Go pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth. Ross says, I'll see it done. Duncan says, what he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won. Holy, I hate this already. Okay, Act 1, Scene 3. I'm just going to take a drink. Ugh. Okay. Scene 3, Act 1. One witch. Where hast thou been, sister? Second witch. Killing swine. Third witch says, sister, where thou? First witch says, a sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I, aroint thee witch. The rump fed, crying cries, her husband's to Aleppo gone, master o' the tiger. But in sea all tither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do. Second witch says, I'll give thee a wind. First witch says, thee art kind. Third witch says, and I another. The first witch says, I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow. All the quarters so that they know I'm a shipman's guard. I'll drain 'em dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Weary 7 nights, 9 times 9. Shall he dwindle, peak, and pine, though his bark, man, no likes. Fuck me. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your late. First witch says hail, second witch says hail, third witch says hail. First witch says, lesser than Macbeth and greater. Second witch says, not so happy yet much happier. Third witch says, thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo. First witch says, Banquo and Macbeth, all hail. Macbeth says, stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis. But how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor, lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief. No more than to be a Cawdor, say from whence you owe the strange intelligence, or why upon the blasted health you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I charge you. The witches vanish. Banquo says, the earth has bubbles, and the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished? Macbeth says, into the air, and what seemed corporal melted as a breath into the wind. Would they had stayed? Banquo says, were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner? Macbeth says, your children shall be kings. Banquo says, you shall be king. Ooh. Oh, my back. And the Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so? Macbeth says. And then Banquo says, to the self-shame tune in the words, who's here? Enter Ross and Angus. Ross says, the king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonder and praises do contend, which should be the thine or his. Sounds with that in viewing over the rest or the self-shame day, he finds thee in the stout of the Norwegian ranks, Nothing a herd of thyself didst make, strange images of death as thick as hail ran post with post, and everyone did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him. Angus says, we are sent to give thee, from our royal master, thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee. Ross says, and for an earnest of a greater honor, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor, in which edition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine. Banquo says, what can the devil speak true? Macbeth says, the Thane of Cawdor lives, why do you dress me in the borough robes? Angus says, who is the Thane lives yet? But under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose, whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line the rebel with the hidden help of the vantage, or that with both he labored in his country's wrack, I know not. But treason's capital, confessed and proved, have overthrown him. Macbeth says, Glamis and Thane of Cawdor. Holy. The greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings? When those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less of them, Banquo says, that trusted home might be the enkindle you unto the crown besides the Thane of Cawdor, but strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm. The instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us the honest trifles, and betrays in the deepest consequence. Cousins, a word I pray you. Macbeth says, two truths are told as happy prologues of the swelling act, of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. The supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good, if ill. Why hath it given me earnest of success, commencing in truth, I am a Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion, whose horrid image doth unfix my hair, and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought whose murder yet is to be fantastical, shakes so my single state of man, and the function of the smooth sunrise, and nothing is, but what is not. Banquo says, look how our partners wrapped. Macbeth says, if chance new honors come upon him, like our strange garments, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use. Macbeth says, come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest day. Banquo says, worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure. Macbeth says, to the lords, give me the favor, my dull brain was wrought. With things forgotten, kind gentlemen, your pains are registered, where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Let us toward the king, think upon what hath chanced, and at more time. The interim have weighed it, let us speak, our free hearts each to other. Banquo says, very gladly. Macbeth says, till then, enough. And then to all, he says, come friends. Whew. I think after every scene, I'm going to take a drink, because my throat's getting really dry, and I'm only 18 pages in, so. So I think, yeah, so now we're on scene 4, act 1. So this is in a room in the king's palace. Flourish of trumpets. Enter Duncan, Malcolm, Donald Blaine, and Lennox. Okay. Duncan says, is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in the commission yet returned? Malcolm says, my liege, they are not yet to come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed treasons, implored in your highness pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him, the leaving it he died, as one that had been studied in his death, to throw away the dearest thing he owed, as it were a careless trifle. Duncan says, there's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. And continues to say, he was a gentleman on whom built an absolute trust. Enter Macbeth, Banquo, Ross, and Angus. This is said to Macbeth, and it says, O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before the swift wing of the recompense is slow to overtake thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay. Macbeth says, the service of the loyalty I owe in doing pays itself the highest part is it to receive the duties, and our duties are to throne and state children and servants, which do but what they should by doing everything safe toward your love and honor. Duncan says, welcome hither, and have begun to plant thee. I will labor to make thee full of growing. To Banquo, he says, noble Banquo, the hast no less deserve, nor must be known, no less to have done so to me enfold thee, and to hold thee into my heart. Banquo says, there if I grow, the harvest is your own. Duncan says, my plenteous joys, wanton in fullness, seek to all themselves in drops of sorrow. He says to all, sons, kingsmen's thanes, are you whose places are the nearest? I know we will establish the estate upon the eldest, Malcolm, whom we came hereafter, the Prince of Cumberland, which honor must not be unaccompanied, invest him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine. Oh, thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. So, yeah. Oh, I lost track. So Duncan continues by saying, on all deserves, and then he says to Macbeth, from hence to Inverness, and blind us further to you. The rest is labor, which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger, and make joyful to the hearing of my wife with your approach. So, humbly take my leave. I can't answer your FaceTime right now, Ben. I'm sorry. I gotta finish this book, because I need to go to bed, because I gotta work tomorrow morning. Macbeth says, to the rest is labor, which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger, and to make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave. Duncan says, my worthy Cawdor. Macbeth says, oh my god, stop, Ben. Aside, the Prince of Cumberland, that is the step on which I must fall down, or leap, for in the way it lies, stars hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let it be, which the eye fears when it is done to see. Duncan says, true worthy Banquo, he is full of so valiant, and in commendations I'm fed. It is the banquet to me. Let's after him, whose care is gone before they bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman. And then they all accent. And now we're on to scene 5. So every scene, I'm taking another drink. Whew. We are 23 pages in. And we got a lot more to go. Thank you, Victoria, and thank you, Ben. Sorry I couldn't answer the FaceTime. I would if I could, but I really just want to get this done because I know this is going to take so damn long, and it's going to be really annoying. So, yeah, let's continue. How do I turn off notifications? There we go. Let's keep it going. On to scene 5 of Macbeth. I'm trying to keep myself hype. It's the only way I'm going to be able to keep doing this. This is fucking torture. So here we go. Woo! Scene 5. Enter Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth says, oh, this is poetry. This is going to be fucking shit to read. They met me in the day of success, and I have learnt by the perfect's report. I have more in them than the mortal knowledge. When I buried in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished, whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it. Came massive from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming on of time. With hail, king that shalt be, this have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness. Aw, thanks, Jenna. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Lady Macbeth continues, that thou might not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart and farewell. Glamis thou art in Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature, it is too full of the milk of human kindness, to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, and not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, the wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet what's wrongly win? Thou'ts have great glamis. This is why I don't read this shit. Okay. That which cries, thou must do, if thou have it. And now which rather thou dost, oh my god, dost fear to do, than with it should be undone. Hie thee hither, and I may pour my spears in thine ear, and the chatis with the valor of my tongue, all that impeds thee from the golden round, which fate of metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned with thou. Enter a messenger. Messenger says, "What is your tidings?" Oh, sorry. Lady Macbeth says, "What is your tidings?" Messenger says, "The king comes here tonight." Lady Macbeth says, "Thou art mad to say it. Is not my master with him? Who were it so would have informed for preparation." Messenger says, "So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who's almost dead for a breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message." Lady Macbeth says, "Giving him tending, he brings great news." Exits the messenger. The raven himself is hoarse. The croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan. Under my battlements come your spirits. Okay, next page. Oh, wait. So this is Lady Macbeth. She continues by saying, "To tend all mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me, from the crown to the toe, top full of the dearest cruelty. Make thick my blood, and stop the access of passage to remorse. The no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast and take the milk for gall, you murdering ministers." Someone explain to me what that means. "Whenever your slightless sentences you wait on nature's mischief. Come thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, Hold, hold." Enter Macbeth. "Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both, by all hail hereafter. The letters have transported me beyond this ignorant presence, and I feel now the future in the instant." Okay, Macbeth says, "My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight." Lady Macbeth says, "And when goes hence?" Macbeth says, "Tomorrow as he purposes." Lady Macbeth says, "Oh, never shall sun that morrow see your face, my Thane, is as a book where one may read strange matters. To beguile the time, I don't know, beguile, I don't know, the time, look like the time, bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue, look like the innocent flower. But to be the serpent under he's that's coming must be provided, and you shall put the night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely, oh my god, sovereign sway and masterdom." I can't believe there's one person still watching this. So that amazes me. So Lady Macbeth, yes, okay. So then Macbeth says, "We'll speak further." Lady Macbeth says, "Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me." So that's the end of scene 5, which means I am going to take a drink once again. And we will continue reading and see, because we're finishing this book in one sitting. I'm telling you, I'm not leaving this computer until I'm done. So yeah, let's continue, I guess. So this is scene 6. Enter Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Banquo, Lennox, Macduff, Ross, Angus, and the attendants. Duncan says, "Cathal has pleasant seat, the air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses." Banquo says, "The guest of summer, the temple-haunting martlet, does approve. By his loved masonry, that's the heaven's breath, smells wooingly here. No Judy freeze, buttress, nor coign of vantage, but this bird hath made me the pendant bed of the procreant cattle, where they most breed and haunt. I have observed the air is delicate." Enter Lady Macbeth. "C.C., our honest hostess," to Lady Macbeth. Sorry. Duncan says, "See, our honored hostess," he says this to Lady Macbeth, "the love that follows us sometime is our trouble, which still we thank is love. Heron, herein I teach you how you shall bid God yield us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble." Lady Macbeth says, "All our service and every point twice done, and then done double. We're poor and single business to contend against those honors deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house, and those of old, and the late dignities had heaped up to them. We rest your hermits." Duncan says, "Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We cursed him at the heels, and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, sharp as a spur, hath holp him to his home before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight." Lady Macbeth says, "Your servants ever have theirs to themselves, and what is theirs in compt? To make their audit of your highness' pleasure, still to return your own." Duncan says, "Give me your hand, conduct me to mine host. We love him highly. We shall continue our graces towards him, by your leave, hostess." Okay, and that's the end of scene 6. We're still in Act 1. Whew. Check my phone really quick. Oh my god. Sure. Just taking a small break. My throat hurts like a bitch. Take a picture for the stream. Oh, I'm just taking a quick break. Whoever's in here. Yeah, I'm getting back into it right now. So we're on scene 7 of Macbeth. It's just like the play lines, and I'll be reading them how they should be read. So yeah, here, let's continue. So scene 7. Enter and pass over the stage a sewer and divers servants with dishes and service. Then enter Macbeth. Macbeth says, "If it were done when it's done, then it were well. It were done quickly, if the assassination could trammel up the consequence, and catch with his success. That but this blow might be the be all and end all here." Whew, sorry, I got the hiccups. We jump the life to come, but in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in the double trust, first as I am the kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then at his host, who should against the murder and shut the door. Macbeth continues by saying, "Not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep domination of his taking off, and pity like a naked newborn baby, striding the blast of heaven's cherubim, horsed upon the slightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only valiating ambition, which leaps itself and falls on the other." Enter Lady Macbeth. "How now, what news? He has supped. Why have you left the chamber?" Well, something popped up on my computer. Oh, there we go. Macbeth says, "Hath he asked for me?" Lady Macbeth says, "No, you not. He has." Macbeth says, "We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of the lay, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. Lady Macbeth says, what's the dope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Have it slept since and wakes it now? You look so green and pale, and what it did so freely from the time such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in the thine own act of valor, and thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteems the ornament of life, and a life of coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat adage. Holy, this is crazy. Macbeth says, oh my, what is this word? Somebody help me out. Look at that first word of that line, if you can see that. It says pi 3, something like that. Pi 3, pi, I don't know. Except I'm just going to go for it. Prythee peace. Prythee peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. Lady Macbeth says, what beast was it then that made you break the enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more than the man. Nor time nor place did they adhere, and yet you would make us both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now. Oh, crazy stuff. You said that word. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. I was trying real hard. And know how tender is to love, and the babe that milks me, I would, while it is smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out. Yo, what is this? Had I sworn as you have done to this. Macbeth. If we should fail, and then Lady Macbeth interrupts him, we fail, question mark. But screw your courage to the sticking place, and we will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, Wheredo rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. His 2 chamberlains will I with 9 of the wassail so convince that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason in the limebeck only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie, as in a death, what cannot an eye perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers? Who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? Macbeth says, bring forth men, children only. For thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Oh, sorry, Macbeth says, bring forth men, children only. For the undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked the bloody those sleepy too? Of this own chamber is used of every daggers that they have done it. Okay. Lady Macbeth says, who dares receive it other, as we shall make our gifts of glamour roar upon his death. Macbeth says, I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away and mock the times the fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. Okay, and that's the... I know it's here for a while more. Except, we'll continue this. And yeah, let's see. Just one moment though. I'm just gonna be 1 sec. I don't know where I put it. Need some motherfucking chapstick right now, to be honest. I just don't know where the fuck I put it. Yeah, I give up. I guess I'm not gonna find it. Let's just keep reading, I guess, because this is stupid. Okay, so we're on to Act 2, Scene 1. Here we go. So this is taking place at a court within the castle. Enter Banquo and Fleance with a torch before him. Banquo says, how goes the night, boy? Fleance, the moon is down. I have not heard the clock. Banquo says, and she goes down at 12. Fleance says, I take it is later, sir. Banquo says, hold, take my sword. There's husbandry in heaven, their candles are all out. Take thee that, too, and heavy summon lies like a lead upon me, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers restrain in me, and the cursed thoughts of the nature gives way to in response. Give me my sword. Enter Macbeth, and a servant with a torch. To Macbeth, says Banquo, who's there? Macbeth says, a friend. Banquo says, what, sir, not yet at rest, the king's abed. He hath been an unusual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your offices. Whew. This diamond he greets your wife withal, by the name of the most kind hostess, and shut up in measureless content. Macbeth says, being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else would free have what? Wrought. And Macbeth said that. Banquo says, all's well. I dreamt last night of the three weird sisters. To you, they've showed me some truth. Macbeth says, I think not of them. Yet we can entreat an hour to serve. We would spend it in some words upon that business. Oh my God, we have so far to go. If you would grant the time, Macbeth says. He continues to say that. Banquo says, at your kindest leisure. Macbeth says, if you shall cleave to my consent, when it is, it shall make honor for you. Banquo says, so I lose none. In seeking to argument, but still keep my bosom franchise and allegiance clear, I shall be counseled. Macbeth says, good response the while. Banquo says, thanks, sir, the like to you. Exeunt. So Banquo and Fleance leave now. Macbeth says to the servant, go bid thy mistress. When my drink is ready, she spike upon the bell, go thee to bed. And then the servant leaves. Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. He speaks to the dagger. This is Macbeth speaking to the dagger. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to straight, and art thou but a dagger of the mind of false creation, proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet in the form of a paw paddle, as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools, or the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and thy blade in the dungeon's gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. No such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Knower of the one half world, measure see. Oh my goodness, sorry. There's no such thing as bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Knower of the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse to the curtain sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Kate's offerings and withered murder. Move that. Macbeth continues to speak to the dagger. Alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howl is hatch, thus with his stealthy pace, with tranquins, ravishing strides towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure in a firm set earth hear not my steps, which way they walk for fear. Thy very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives. Words to heat the deeds, too cold breathe gives. A bell rings. I go, and it is done. A bell invites me, hear it not. Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. And then he exits, and that is the end of scene 2, act 2. So now we're getting on to oh sorry, that was the end of act 2, scene 1. So now we're going to be getting into act 2, scene 2 in just a minute. Oh, why is this so hot? Oh, it's the heat off my computer is like boiling my water. Let's continue. Enter Lady Macbeth for scene 2, and it's in the same place as scene 1. Lady Macbeth says, "The which hath made me them drunk, hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark, peace. It was the old that shrieked the fatal bellman, which gives the sternest good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the suffated grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drugged their possets. The death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die." Macbeth says, in his head, "Who's there? What ho?" What ho? And then Lady Macbeth says, "Alack, I am afraid they have awaked, and it's not done. The attempt and not the deed. confounds us. Hark! I lay their daggers ready. He could not miss them. Had he not resembled. Lady Macbeth continues by saying, "My father, as he slept, I had done it, my husband." Enter Macbeth. Macbeth says, "I've done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?" Lady Macbeth says, "I heard an owl scream and the crickets cry. Did you not speak?" Macbeth says, "When?" Lady Macbeth says, "Now." Macbeth says, "As I descended." Lady Macbeth says, "Hey!" Macbeth says, "Hark! Who lies I the second chamber?" Lady Macbeth says, "Donal Blaine." And Macbeth says, looking at his hands, says, "This is a sorry night." Lady Macbeth says, "A foolish thought to say a sorry night." Macbeth says, "There's one did laugh in sleep, and one cried murder. That they did wake each other and stood and heard them. But they did say their prayers and address them again to sleep." Lady Macbeth says, "There are two lodged together." Macbeth said, "One cried, 'God bless us,' and amen. The other, as they had seen me in the hangman's hands, listening their fear, I could not say amen, when they did say, 'God bless us.'" Lady Macbeth said, "Consider it not so deeply." Macbeth said, "But wherefore could I not promise amen? I had need the blessing of amen stuck in my throat." Lady Macbeth said, "These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad." Macbeth said, Methought I heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more." Macbeth does murder sleep, is so innocent sleep that knits us the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, balm of hurt mind, great nature's second course, chief nourishers in life's feast. Lady Macbeth says, "What do you mean?" Macbeth still it cried, "Sleep no more," to all to all the house. Glamis hath murdered sleep, and therefore Cawdor shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more. Lady Macbeth says, "Who has it thus cried?" "Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend the noble strength to think the brain sickly things. Go get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood." Macbeth says, "I'll go no more. I am afraid to think what I've done. Look on it again, I dare not." Lady Macbeth says, "Infirm of purpose, give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but his pictures. Is the eye of the childhood that fears the painted devil. If he do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt." Knocking within, we get to the next page, and Macbeth says, "Whence is that knocking? How is it with me, when every noise appeals me? What hands are here? Ha, they plucked out mine eyes. Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood and clean from my hand? Know this, my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red." Re-enter Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth says, "My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire, we to our chamber. A little water." What did I just see? Oh, never mind. "I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire, we to our chamber. Little water clears us of this deed. How easy is it then? Your constancy hath left you unattended. Knock, hark, more knocking. Get on your nightgown. Let's occasion call us and show us to be watchers, but not lost so poorly in your thoughts." Macbeth says, "To nail my deed, where best not know myself." Knock that's like a sound effect. Knock. "Wake, Duncan, with thy knocking. I would thou couldst." Now we're done. Scene 2, Act 2, Scene 2. We have finished that. We're getting on to Act 2, Scene 3. We're about to start. I just need a sip of water. Okay, Scene 3. Here we come. Let's see how it goes. So now we have the same setting as Scene 2, where the murder took place. And now we have Miss Porter entering, knocking within. Porter says, Here's a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have old turning the key. Knocking. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? I name the Bill. Oh, I don't even want to try to pronounce these. Beelzebub. Beelzebub, I guess. Beelzebub. Oh, thank you for the comment, Cole. And that's sick. I like that. You're on Act 2, Scene 3, page 51. Let's get it. Let's keep going. Here's a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in time, server, have napkins enough about. Now we switch to the next page. And he continues, the porter continues by saying, You, here you'll sweat it for it knocking. Knock, knock, who's there? I, the other's devil's name. Faith, here's an equivocator that could swear in both the scales against either scale. Who committed treason enough for God's sake, yet cannot equivocate to heaven. Whew, I got the hiccups. 1 sec. Oh, I forgot where I was. But this place, I'm just gonna start there. But this place too cold for hell. I'll devil porter it no further. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go the promise. Way to the everlasting bonfire. Anon, anon, I pray you. Remember the porter. Opens the gate. Enter Macduff and Lennox. Macduff says, Was it too late, friend? Ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late. Porter says, Faith, sir, we were carousing till the second cock, and drink. Sir is a great provoker of three things. I never noticed that. We read this in class. It says carousing till the second cock. That's the weirdest shit. Anyways, continue. Macduff says, What three things does drink especially provoke? Porter says, Marry, sir, nose painting, sleep and urine. Lechery, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. Oh my goodness. It provokes and unprovokes. It provokes a desire that takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on, and it takes him off. It persuades him. It disheartens him, makes him stand to, and not stand to in conclusion, equivocates him in a sleep, and giving him the lie. Duff says, I believe drink gave thee the lie last night. Porter says that it did, sir, and I very throat o' me, but I requited him for his lie, I think being too. Next page. Whew, look at that. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. What, 48 minutes in? Let's keep going. So Porter continues by saying, Strong for him, though he took up my legs some time, yet I made a shift to cast him. Macduff says, Is thy master stirring? Macbeth enters the room. Macduff continues by saying, Our knocking has awakened him. Here he comes. Lennox says to Macbeth, Good morrow, noble sir. Macbeth says, Good morrow both. Macduff says, Is the king stirring, worthy thane? Macbeth says, Not yet. Macduff says, He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour. Macbeth says, I bring you to him. Macduff says, I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet is one. Macbeth says, The labor we delight in physics pain, this is the door. Macduff says, I'll make so bold to call, for it my limited service. Exit. Exit Macduff. Macduff exits. Lennox says, Goes to the king hence today. Macbeth says, He does. He did appoint so. Lennox says, The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down. And as they say, lamentings heard I in the air, strange screams of death. And the prophying, the accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events. New hatched the woeful time, the obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth. Some say the earth, and then it's going to continue on with Lennox. Why is my book so sticky? Ew. That's gross. Anyways, continues. I'm saying, was feverish and did shake. Macbeth says, 'Twas a rough night. Lennox says, My young remembrance cannot peril a fellow to it. And then re-enter Macduff back into the room. So he says, "Oh, horror, 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 tongue not heart, cannot conceive nor name thee." And then Macbeth and Lennox say, "What's the matter?" Macduff says, "Confusion now hath me made this his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke out. The Lord's anointed temple stole the hence of the life of the building." Whew. Macbeth says, "What is it you say, the life?" Lennox says, "Mean you his majesty?" Macduff says, "Approach the chamber and destroy your sight with a new Gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See, and then speak yourselves." And then Macbeth and Lennox leave the room. And Macduff continues by saying, "Awake, awake, ring the alarm bell. Murder and treason. Banquo and Donalbain. Malcolm, awake. Shake off his downy sleep. Death's counterfeit, and I look on death itself. Up, up, and see the great doom's image. Malcolm and Banquo, as from the graves, rise up and walk like sprites to countenance the horror. Ring the bell." Bell rings. Enter Lady Macbeth. "What's the business? The such hideous trumpet calls too poorly. The sleepers of the house, speak, speak." Next page. Holy, this is a long scene, bro. Keep going. Macduff says, "Oh, gentle lady, that is not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell." Enter Banquo. "Oh, Banquo, Banquo, our royal master's murdered." Lady Macbeth says, "What, in our house?" Banquo says, "Too cruel anywhere. Dear Duff, I prythee." Oh, it's that word again from earlier, if Ben's still on here. The prythee one. "Dear Duff, I prythee, contradict thyself and say it is not so." And then Macbeth and Lennox re-enter. Macbeth says, "Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived and blessed time. For, from this instant, there's nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys, renown, and grace is dead. The wine of life is drawn, and the mere less is left of the vault to brag of." Enter Malcolm and Donalbain. Donalbain says, "What is amiss?" Macbeth says, "You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, and the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped." Macduff says, "Your royal father's murdered." Malcolm says, "Oh, by whom?" Yeah. Lennox says, "Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all badged with blood, so were their daggers, which unwiped we found upon their pillows. They started and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them." Holy. Lennox continues by saying, oh no, he doesn't. That's the end of what Lennox says. Macbeth says, "Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them." Macduff says, "Wherefore did you so?" Macbeth says, "Who can be wise, amazed, temperate, and furious, loyal, neutral in a moment? No man, the expedition of my violent love, outran the pauser reason. Here lay Duncan, a silver skin laced with his golden blood, as he gashed stabs, looked like a breach in nature. For ruins, wasteful entrance. There, the murderers stepped in the colors of their trade, their daggers, unmannerly, breached with gore. Who could refrain? That heart to love, and in that heart, courage to make love known." Lady Macbeth, fainting, says, "Help me hence, ho." Macduff says, "Look to the lady." Malcolm says, aside to Donalbain, "Why do we hold our tongues? That is most may claim the arguments of ours." Donalbain says, other than to Malcolm, "What shall be spoken here, where our fate, hidden the auger hole, may rush and seize us? Let's away. Our tears are not yet brewed." Malcolm says, other than Donalbain, "Not our strong sorrow upon the foot motion." Banquo says, "Look to the lady." Lady Macbeth is carried out. Banquo continues by saying, "And when we have our naked frailties hid, the suffering exposure, let us meet. And the question is most bloody piece of work. To know it further, fears the sculps shake us. In the great hand of God I stand. And thence against the undivulged prentice I fight of treacherous malice." Oh my god, I don't know how much more I can take of this shit. It's so bad. Banquo continues. Oh, no, he doesn't. He doesn't continue. Macduff says, and so do I. And they all say, so all. Macbeth says, let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet the hall together. They all say, well contended, except all but Malcolm and Donald Blaine. Malcolm says, what will you do? Let's not consort with them to show our unfelt sorrow is an office, which the false man does easy all to England. Donald Blaine, to Ireland. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer, where we are their daggers and men's smiles, the near in blood, the nearer bloody. Malcolm says, this murderous shaft that shot hath not yet lighted, our safest way is to avoid the aim, therefore to horse, and let us not be dainty of leave taking, but shift away. There's warrant in the theft which steals itself, where there's no mercy left. Oh, that's so nice. We're finished. Scene 3, Act 2. That was the longest scene ever. That was like, it felt like a hour-long scene, but I don't know. It was like 20 minutes, I think. Yep. So we should probably keep reading. We're almost an hour into this. So yeah, let's continue. Spaghetti Bandit. Keep going. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like if you're enjoying the content. You can drop a dislike if you like, but I mean, likes. Just be positive. So yeah, let's keep going. Sorry if that was loud. Okay. So for scene 4, it takes place outside the castle. Enter Ross and the old man. The old man says, 70 I can remember well, within the volume of which time I have seen hours dreadful and things strange, but this score night hath trifled former knowings. Ross says, ha, good father, thou seest the heavens and trouble man's act, threatens his bloody stage, by the clock is day. He continues by saying, and yet dark night strangles the traveling lamp, is it to night's predominance and the day's shame. The darkness does the face of the earth untom, when living light should kiss it. Old man says, it is unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon, towering in her pride of place, was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed. Ross says, and Duncan's horses, a thing most strange at certain, Beachius at swift, and minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, contending against obedience, as they would make war with mankind. Old man said, it is said they ate each other. Ross said, they did so, the amazement of mine eyes, they looked upon it. Enter Macduff. Here, Ross continues by saying, here comes the good Macduff. How goes the world, sir, now? And then Macduff says, why see you not? Ross says, is it known who did the more than bloody deed? Macduff says, those that Macbeth has slain. Ross says, alas the day, what good could they pretend? Macduff says, they were suborned. Malcolm and Donald Blaine, the king's 2 sons, are stolen away and have fled, which puts upon them suspicion of the deed. Ross says, against nature still, thriftless ambition, the will to raven up the thine of life's means, then it is most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth. Oh my! I thought we were done. Thought we were done that act there. I got kind of excited. Oh, thank you, Ethan. I will be sure to keep up the good work. Oh, damn, we're about to hit an hour and 10 seconds. Finish the scene. So Macduff says, he is already named, so gone to Scone to be invested. Ross says, where's Duncan's body? Macduff, carried to Comkill, the scared storehouse of the predecessors and guardians of their bones. Ross says, will you two Scone? Macduff says, no, cousin, all to Fife. Ross says, well, I will thither, yeah. Macduff says, well, may you see things well done there, Adieu. Lest old robes sit easier than our new. Ross says, farewell, father. Old man says, God and vengeance go with you, and with those they would make good of bad and friends of foes. Okay. So we're done Act 2. So that's all of Act 2. And now we'll be moving on to Act 3, which is Act 3. And this is how far we are, by the way. So, I should be showing it this way. So this is what I've read, and this is what I got to read still. So it's probably, I'm going to say either another hour and a half, maybe, if I'm lucky. Yeah, I'm just going to take a drink now. Two acts down and one water bottle down. Let's keep it going. Don't worry, I got a lot of water. Oh, this isn't a good bottle, actually. One sec. Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit. There we go. Fix. Man, I messed up my mic there. Okay. A little bit up. Yeah, that's good. Taking a little tiny break in between acts just because it fucking hurts my throat. This water's so much colder. I have my other one sitting beside my computer and it got so hot. Check the phone, see what's up. Oh, got a text from Ethan. No way you're still going. You bet I'm still going. I'm finishing this book. So yeah, I guess we should keep going. So we're on Act 3 of Macbeth, Shakespeare novel. And right now this takes place in a room in the palace. And it starts with just Banquo entering the room. Banquo says, thou hast it. Ooh, one sec. Banquo starts off by saying, thou hast it now, King Cawdor Glamis, all, as the weird woman promised, and I fear thou playedst most fully, for yet it was said, it should not stand in thy posterity, I guess, but thou myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine, why by the varieties of the made God? May they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope, but hush no more. So enter Macbeth as the king, and Lady Macbeth as the queen, Lennox, Rose, lords in attendance. Macbeth says, here's our chief guest. Lady Macbeth says, if he had been forgotten, it had been a gasp in our great feast. And all thing coming. Macbeth says to Banquo, tonight we hold a solemn supper. Sir, I'll request your presence. Banquo says, let your highness command upon me, to which my duties are a most indissoluble tie forever knit. Macbeth says, ride you this afternoon. Banquo says, aye, my good lord. Macbeth says, we should have else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in the day's council, but will take tomorrow. Is it far you ride? Banquo says, as far, my lord, as we will fill up the time. Twixt this and super, go not my horse and the better. Comma, and so he's continuing to say, I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour of twain. Macbeth says, fail not our feast. Banquo says, my lord, I will not. Macbeth says, we will hear our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange imitation. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state, craving us jointly, hie you to the horse, adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you? Banquo says, aye, my good lord, our time does call upon us. Macbeth says, I wit your horse is swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Exit Banquo. Macbeth continues by saying to the lords, "Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night to make society the sweeter welcome. We will keep ourselves till supper time alone. While then, God be with you." Lady Macbeth leaves, and the lords. Macbeth continues by saying to an attendant, "Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men. Our pleasure." The attendant says, "They are, my lord, without my palace gate." Macbeth says, "Bring them before us." And then the attendant leaves. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus, our fears of Banquo stick deep in this royalty of nature, reigns the which would be feared, is much he dares. And to the dauntless temper of his mind, he hath wisdom of doth guide his valor to act in safely. There is none but he. And he continues to say, "Whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebucked." As it says, Mark Antony was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when they put my name of king upon me. They bade them speak to him, then profit, like they hailed him further to line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, and put a barren scepter in my gripe, thence to be wrenched with an unlined hand. My son of mine succeeding, it'll be so. For Banquo's issue have I filled my mind. For them, my gracious Duncan have I murdered. Put rancors in the vessel of my peace. Only for them, the mine of eternal jewel, given the common enemy of men, to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list, and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Re-enter attendant with 2 murders. To the attendant, Macbeth says, "Now go to the door and stay there till we call." To the murderers, Macbeth says, "Was it not yesterday we spoke together?" The first murderer says, "It was, so please your highness." Macbeth says, "Well then, now you have considered of my speeches, now that it was he, in the times past, which held so under fortune, which you thought had been of innocent self. This I made good to you in the last conference, passed in probation with how you were borne in hand, how crossed the instruments, who wrought with them, and all things else that might. To half a soul and to a notion crazed, say, thus did Banquo." The first murderer says, "You made it known to us." Macbeth says, "I did so went further, which is now our point of the second meeting. Did you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospelled to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave, and beguard yours forever?" First murderer says, "We are men, my liege." Macbeth says, "Aye, in the catalogue ye go for men. As hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, so shows, water rugs, and demi-wolves are clept, all by name of dogs is valued by file, distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, and the housekeeper, the hunter, every one according to the gift which bound to news nature hath in him closed, whereby does receive particular edition from the bill that writes them all alike, and so of men. Now if you have a station in the file, not at the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I'll put the business in your bosoms, whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart, and loves us, who where the health, but stickly in his life, which in his death were perfect." Oh my god, I can't take this. I can't take this. Oh my god. Second murder says, "I am one of my liege, whom the vile blows and buffets of the world have so incensed, and I am reckless, so what I do spite the world." The first murderer says, "And I another, so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my life of any chance to mend it or written on it." Macbeth says, "Both of you, no Banquo was your enemy." Both murderers say, "True, my lord." Ah, oh, oh my god. It's so long. Okay. Macbeth says, "So is he mine, and I am such a bloody distant that every minute of his being thrust against the nearest of life that I could with bare face power sweep him from my sight and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends there are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail as fall, whom I myself struck down, and thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, making the business from the common eye, from sundry weighty reasons. Second murderer says, we shall, my lord, perform what you command us. One murderer, what you command us. The first murderer says, though our lives. Macbeth says, your spirits shine through you. Within this hour, at most, I will advise you. Oh my god, my lips are getting chapped legit from reading this. Like, they fucking hurt. We need to go get chapstick after this act. I will advise you to wear the plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on it, for it must be done tonight. And something from the palace always thought that I require clearness, and with him to leave no rubs nor blotches in the work. Fleance his son, that keeps his company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must remembrance the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon. The second murderer says, we are resolved, my lord. Macbeth says, I'll call upon you straight. Abide within. The murderers leave, and then it is concluded, and then Macbeth continues by saying, it is concluded, Banquo, thy soul's fight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight. Okay, next page. Oh, okay, that's the end of the scene. Dope. That means I'm going to go put some chapstick on because my lips hurt like a bitch from reading so much. Oh. Just 1 second, I'll be back. Okay. I'm all good now. I needed to go get that real quick. So, 1 sec. I shut my door. So yeah, let's continue. So we're finished Act 3, Scene 1. Now we're going on to Act 3, Scene 2. So let's keep it going. So this takes place in another room in the castle. So enter Lady Macbeth and a servant. Lady Macbeth says, is Banquo gone from court? The servant says, aye, madam, but returns again tonight. Lady Macbeth says, say it to the king, I would attend his leisure for a few words. Servant says, madam, I will. And then the servant exits. Lady Macbeth says, oh, this is so long. Okay. Not had all spent, where our desire is got without content. It is safer to be which we destroy than be destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Macbeth enters. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies? I don't know. Oh, fancies. That makes sense. Sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died. With them they think on things without all remedy, should be without regard. What's done is done. Macbeth says, we have scotched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst I, poor Malice, remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things destroy, both the words suffer. Uri will eat the meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be the dead, whom we, and to gain our place, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. Nor steel, nor poison. Oh, thank you for the like. Whoever dropped that like, I appreciate it. He continues by saying, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further. Lady Macbeth says, come on, gentle my lord, seek o' your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight. Macbeth says, so shall I. Love, and so I pray, be you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence, both with eye and tongue. unsafe the while that we must leave our honors in these flattering streams and make our faces vizards to our hearts, discussing what they are. And Macbeth says, "You must leave this." Macbeth says, "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou know it, that Banquo and his fleance lives." Lady Macbeth says, "But in them nature's copy not and turn." Macbeth says, "There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. Eerie, the bat hath flown his oh my god, this is so hard. This is so like these words, man. His claw, his clustered flight. Eerie, the black hecate summon the shard-born beetle and his drowsy hums. Hath wrung night yawning peal. They shall be done, a deed of dreadful note. Lady Macbeth says, "What's to be done?" Macbeth says, "Be innocent of knowledge, dearest Chuck. Till thou applaud the deed, come sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of the pitiful day, and with the bloody and the invisible hand, cancel the tear to pieces, the great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens and the crow. Make wings to the rocky wood, good things of the day begin to drop and drowse, while night's black agents in their eyes do rouse." I don't understand. There's been one person watching for so long. It feels like. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't know who it is, though. I can't see who it is. I kind of wish I could. I'm getting so tired, man. Okay. What was that? So Macbeth continues by saying, "Thou marvelest at my words, but hold thee still. Things have begun make strong themselves by ill. So pride thee, go with me." Okay, we're done. Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 2. Message retracted from Josh Arrington. So I'm guessing he said a bad word. I don't know what that means. Except on to Scene 3 now. Act 3. Oh, thank you, Josh. It's a very interesting novel. I'm just kidding. This is the worst shit I've ever read. But yeah, we're about halfway through it. It's been an hour and oh man. You got me, Josh. You got me. Oh man, that kid is such a troll. So I think I am gonna continue reading Scene 3, Act 3 now. So Scene 3 takes place in the same place in the castle. A park with a road leading to the palace is exactly where it is. Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, I'm really coming along. I'm really kind of understanding now. And Josh, it's a really good book. Yes, this is my book club. Welcome to my book club. Okay, so we're on to Scene 3 now. The first murderer says, "But who did bid thee join with us?" The third murderer says, "Macbeth." The second murderer says, "He needs not our mistress, since he delivers our offices and what we have to do to the direction just." The first murderer says, "Then stand with us." The west yet glimmers with some streaks of the day. Now spurs the lated traveler apace to gain the timely inn, and the near approaches the subject of our watch. The third murderer says, "Hark, I hear horses." Banquo, from within, says, "Give us a light there, ho." The second murderer says, "Then it is he." The rest, they are within the note of expectation. Already are I the court. The first murderer says, "His horses go about." The third murderer says, "Almost a mile, but he does usually, so all men do. From hence the palace gate make it their walk." Banquo and Fleance enter with a torch. Oh, 12 movement. Gotta see. Okay, no, we're all good. Enter with a torch. Second murderer says, "A light, a light." Third murderer says, "It is he." Let's see the next pages. The first murderer says, "Stand to it." Banquo says to Fleance, "It will be rain tonight." First murderer says, "Let it come down." The first murderer strikes out the light while the others assault Banquo. Banquo, "O treachery, fly, good Fleance. Fly, fly, fly. Thou mayest revenge to the murderer, O slave." And then Fleance dies, gets Sorry, not sorry. Sorry. Banquo dies. Fleance escapes, which is a really sad part of this book. It really like touches me. I'm just kidding. Okay, third murderer. Who did strike out the light? What the first murderer says, was it not the way? The third murderer says, there's but one down, the sun has fled. The second murderer says, we have lost best half of our affair. The first murderer says, well, let's away and say how much is done. And that is the end of act 3, scene 3. So we are down into scene 4 now. We're gonna get that started in just a moment. Oh no, I was drinking this shit. I'm not supposed to. Ew, this shit is from like a year ago. Okay, so yeah, gonna get on to scene 4 in just a minute. I am so tired. For like people watching, I don't know if this seems like it's like hard to do, but this is one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. It's so gross. It makes me want to throw up everywhere, even more than that fucking dog food sandwich that I recorded like a year ago. I just want to bike ride down a hill and get 132 views easily like I did last year. But I don't know, getting hate lately, so I got to up the game. So that's why I'm bringing in Macbeth to try and help me out. Yes, Josh. You said my name. What do you want? Yeah, I know, except I'm going to publish this and then everyone will be able to watch it. So, you know, no, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Josh? I'm going to publish this after. Okay. So we're on act 3, scene 4. I think so. This is what I've read, like this side, and then this one is just the fast side. Josh, I might have to kick you from the live stream if you're gonna call me names or bring hate to this, because fuck the haters. I will kick you, and I will not hesitate. Do not test me. That was so gay. Okay, I'm actually gonna continue reading. Scene 4 of Macbeth. Here we go. This takes place in a room of state in the palace. A banquet is prepared. Enter Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Ross, Lennox, lords, and the attendants. Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate it. Okay, Macbeth says, you know your own degrees. Sit down. At first, last, the hearty welcome. The lords say, thank you. Thanks to your majesty. Macbeth says, ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keep her state, but in best time we will require her welcome. Lady Macbeth says, pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome. Whoa. One of Josh's message. What does retracted mean? Does that mean like he deleted the message? I don't know. Okay, so enter first murderer to the door. Macbeth says to Lady Macbeth, see the encounter thee with their heart's thanks. He says to the company, both sides are even. Here I'll sit, I the mist. Be large in the mirth, anon. We'll drink a measure, the table round. To the murderer he says, there's blood upon thy face. The murderer says, it is Banquo said. Macbeth says, it is better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched? The murderer says, my lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him. Macbeth says, thou art his best, O the cutthroats, yet he's good. That did like the fleance of thou didst of the thou art of non-peril. Murderer says, most royal sir, fleance is escaped. Macbeth. Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect. Whole as the marble, founded as the rock, abroad and general as the casing air. But now I am combined and cribbed and confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. To the murderer he says, but Banquo safe? Murder says, aye, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, his 20 trenched gashes on his head, and least a death to nature. Macbeth says, thanks for that. Aside, There the grown serpent lies, the worm that's fled. Hath nature, that in time will venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again. Next page. Lady Macbeth. So sorry. So the murderer leaves, and then Lady Macbeth says, "My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. My feast is sold. That is not often vouched. Well, it is making. It is given with welcome. The feed were best at home. From thence the sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it." Macbeth says, "Sweet remembrancer. Now good digestion wait on appetite and health on both." Lennox says, "May it please your highness sit." Macbeth says, "Here have we now our country's honored roofed." Were the graced person of Banquo's present. The ghost of Banquo enters and sits in Macbeth's place. Macbeth continues by saying, "Who may I rather challenge for the unkindness than a pity mischance?" Ross says, "His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it, your highness, to grace us with your royal company." Macbeth, the table's full. Macbeth says the table's full. Lennox says, "Here is a place reserved, sir." Macbeth says, "Where?" And Lennox says, "Here, my good lord." Macbeth notices the ghost. And then Lennox says, "What is it that moves your highness?" Macbeth says, "Which of you have done this?" The lord say, "What, my good lord?" Macbeth says to the ghost, "Thou cannot say I did it. Never shake. The glory locks at me." Ross says, "Gentlemen, rise. The highness is not well." Lady Macbeth says, "Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep seat, and then fit momentary upon a thought. He will again be well. If much you know him, you shall offend him. To extend his passion, feed and regard him not." To Macbeth, she says, "Are you a man?" Macbeth says, "I, a bold one, dare look on that which might appall a devil." Lady Macbeth says, "Oh, proper stuff. This is a very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws starts," and she postures the true fear. Would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire. Authorized by her grand dame, shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool. Macbeth says to all the lords, "Prithee see there, behold, look low, how say you?" "Why, what care I?" he says to the ghost. "If thou canst not speak to the lords," he says, "it charnel houses at our graves send. Those are we bury back, our moments shall be moths of kites." The ghost disappears. Lady Macbeth says, "What quite unmanned in folly?" Macbeth says, "If I stand here, I saw him." Lady Macbeth says, "Fie, for shame." Macbeth says, "Blood hath been shed eerie now, and I, the olden time, eerie humane statue, purged with a gentle wheel. I, and since two murders have been performed, too terrible for the ear, the time has been." And Macbeth continues by saying that when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end, but now they rise again with 20 moral murders on their crowns. They push us from our stools, and this is more the strange than such a murder is. Lady Macbeth says, "My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you." Macbeth says to Lady Macbeth, "I do forget." Macbeth says to the lords, "Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down, give me some wine, fill full. I drink in general joy at the whole table to the dear friend Banquo that we miss. Would he were here right now." Re-enter the ghost. He continues by saying, "To all and him we thirst, and to all to all. The Lord say, our duties and the pledge." Macbeth says to the ghost, "Avaunt and quit my sight. Let the earth hide thee, the bones and the marrowless. Thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculation in those eyes, which thou dost glare with him." Lady Macbeth says to the lords, "Think of this, good peers, but is a thing of custom. It is no other. Only it spoils the pleasure of the time." Macbeth says, "What man dare, I dare." Approach thou like a rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros, or the hyrcan tiger, take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble or be live again. And dare me to desert with thy sword, if trembling I inhabit then. Protest me, the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal monkey, hence. Oh my god. The ghost disappears. Why is there two people still watching this? You have no lives. I don't know why you're here, but I mean, I don't care. I actually kind of like it. It's kind of cute. Okay. Oh, hey Josh. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're just getting on to the good part of Macbeth, which is the whole thing, but I mean, hey, let's keep going. So the ghost disappears, and Macbeth continues by saying, "Why so, being gone? I'm a man again. Pray you sit still." Lady Macbeth says to Macbeth, "You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with the most admired disorder." Macbeth says, "Can such things be? A writ overcome us like a summer's cloud. Without our special wonder, you make me strange, even though the disposition that I owe, when now I think you can behold such sights, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks, when mine is blanked with fear." Ross says, "What sights, my lord?" Lady Macbeth says to the lords, "I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse." Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once. Lennox says, "Good night, and better health attend his majesty." Lady Macbeth says, "A kind good night to all." And then the lords and the attendants leave. Macbeth says, "If still it will have blood. They say blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move the trees to speak. The Argers and the unstood relations have by maggot pies, and the chows and the rooks brought forth. The secret of a man's blood, what is the night?" Almost, Lady Macbeth says, "Almost at odds with morning, which is which." Macbeth says, "How how sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?" Macbeth says. Lady Macbeth says, "Do you send to him, sir?" And Macbeth says, "I hear it by the way, but I will send. There is not a one of them but in his house. I keep a servant feed, I will tomorrow, and Betimes I will. To the weird sisters, more shall they speak, for now I am bent to know. By the worst means, the worst, the mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood. Stepped in so far, should I wade no more. Returning were the tedious of the goer. Strange things I have in head, and that will to hand, which must be acted. Eerie they may be scanned." Lady Macbeth says, "You lack the seasons of all natures. Sleep." Macbeth says, "Come will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet too young indeed." Oh my god, I gotta take a piss so bad. I will be back. That is the end of scene 4, act 3. So when I come back, we'll start reading scene 5. I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for leaving. I had to go to the washroom. Back now, so we can continue the story. Hour and a half in. Let's keep it going. And it's not dark out yet. I'm actually gonna open the window real quick. Yeah. Holy. Okay, so let's keep going. Yo, who's still in here? Comment if like who's in here, because someone's just been like chilling for the last like hour straight. But yeah, let's keep it going. I'm actually gonna take a quick drink. move this. Okay. Spaghetti bendel. Spaghetti bendel. Ew. Yeah, let's keep it going. Okay. Scene 5, the heath. Thunder! Enter the three witches meeting Hecate. That is where scene 5, act 3 takes place. So, let's start. I think it says I witch, maybe one witch, I'm not sure. Why, how, Hecate, you look angrily. I'm gonna call her Hecate. Hecate says, have I not reason, beldams as you are, saucy and overbold? How did you dare to trade the traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part, or show the glory of our art. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but the wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loves of his own ends, not for you. Next page. And Hecate continues to say, but makes amends now, get you gone. And at the pit of Archeon, meet me I the morning, thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide your charms and everything beside. I am for the air, the night I'll spend until the dismal of the fatal end. Great business must be wrought, eerie moon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it eerie, it to come, and that distilled by magic sleights shall raise to such artificial sprites as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear his hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is moral's chiefest enemy. And that is, I guess, I don't know, based on a song called Come Away, Come Away. I don't know. It just says that. And then she continues to say, hark, I am called my little spirit. She sits on a foggy cloud and stays for me. The one witch says, come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again. And that's a really short scene because that was the end of scene 5. And now we're on to scene 6. Which is, it literally says somewhere in Scotland. You probably can't see that, but whatever. So yeah, let's start scene 6 and enter Lennox and the Lord. Lennox says, my former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret father only I say, things that have strangely borne. The gracious Duncan was pitted of Macbeth, Mary he was dead, and the right valiant Banquo worked too late. Continues by saying, whom you may see, if it please you, fleants killed and fleants fled, men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought of how monstrous it was for Malcolm and Donald Blaine to kill their gracious father? Damned fact. How did grieve Macbeth? Did he not straight? Bill Jenkins. Yay. Yay. Yay, Bill Jenkins. Let's keep going. Love in the chat. Let's keep it. How did it grieve Macbeth? Did he not straight and prize rage the two delinquents tear? That were the slaves of drink, the thralls of sleep, was not the nobly done, and wisely too, for it would have angered any heart alive to hear that men deny it. So that I say it, he has borne all things done, and I do think that he, Duncan's sons, under his key, as an't please heaven, he shall not. They should not find. Where it were to kill father, should fleants, but peace. For from broad words, and cause he failed. His presence of the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where the bestows himself? And then the Lord goes on to say, the son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the male volants of fortune nothing takes from the high respect. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid to wake Northumberland and warlike sword, that by the help of these with him above to ratify the work, We may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free to our feasts, and banquets bloody knives. Do faithful homage and receive free honors, all which we pine now in this report. Hath so expirate the king that he prepares for some attempt of war. Lennox says, sent he to Macduff? Lord says, he did, and with absolute sir not I, the cloudy messenger turns me in his back. The Lord continues by saying in the next page, and hums as who would say, you'll rue the time that clogs me with the answer. Lennox says, and that well might. Advise him to a caution, to hold a distance as wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to court of England, and unfold the message eerie to come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this, our suffering country under a hand accursed. The Lord says, I'll send my prayers with him. And then they leave. And that's the end of Act 3. So we're done 3 acts, and we are on to Act 4. And so right now, we're looking pretty even, except this is a side I've read right here. And I'm kind of like filling the pages with. And this is what I have to read still. And we are an hour and 41 minutes and 30 seconds in. So let's keep it going. Holy, I hate this book so much. I've never hated something so much in my life than this hour and 40 minutes. It's the most annoying shit I've ever done. Okay. Ooh, 8 likes. I like that. Thank you for the likes, guys. Even though there's only 2 people in here. But yeah, let's keep it going, man. I don't know if Josh is in here, but hey. Yeah, you know. So, scene 1 takes place a dark cave in the middle of a boiling cauldron. So, enter the 3 witches. The first witch. Thrice the brided cat hath mewed. Thrice the brided cat hath mewed. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate. Are you number 1 fan? Are you number 1 fan? Okay, gotta keep going. Gotta keep going. Okay. Thrice the brided cat hath mewed. Thrice and the second witch says, thrice and once hedge pig whined. Third witch says, Hyper cries, it is time, it is time. The first witch says, round about the cauldron go, and the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under the cold stone, days and the nights has 31 sweltered venom. Sleeping got, boil in the first the charmed pot. They all say, double, double toil and trouble, fire burn in the cauldron bubble. The second witch says, fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of the newt and toe of the frog, the wool of the bat and the tongue of the dog, adder's folk and the blind's worm sting, lizard's leg and the howlet's wing. For a charm of the powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. They all say, double, double toil and trouble, fire burn in the cauldron bubble. The third witch says, scale of a dragon, tooth of a wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf. Of the ravine, salt sea shark, root of the hemlock, to dig it the dark, liver of the blushing Jew, gall of the goat and sips of the ewe, civilled in the moon's eclipse, nose Turk in the Tartar's lips. Finger of the birth, strangle baby, ditch of the deliver by a drab, make the gruel thick on a slab. And as we flip the page, the third witch continues by saying, add Fiorettos of the tiger's cauldron, and the ingredients of our cauldron. They all say, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and the cauldron bubble. The second witch says, Kula was of Babon's blood, and the charm in the fire is good. Enter Hecate. Hecate says, oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share the gains. And now about the cauldron thing, like the elves and the fairies in a ring, enchanting and all you put in. The music and the song Black Spirits play, but that obviously doesn't play in this book. So the second one says, by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked in the way comes. Knocking, opens locks, whoever knocks. Enter Macbeth. How now, you secret, black and midnight hags, what is it you do? A deed without a name, they all say. I conjure you, Macbeth says, I conjure you by which you profess. However you come to know it, answer me. Through your unto the winds, and let them fight against the churches through the yeasty waves, confound of the swallow navigation up. Through the blatted and oh my goodness, through the blatted corn be lodged, and the trees blown down. Through the castles topple on their warders' heads, through the places and pyramids do slope, their heads to their foundations, through the treasure of the nature's Germans tremble together, even still destruction sicken. Answer me to what I ask you. Speak, the one which says speak. The first which, sorry. Second which says demand. The third which says will answer. The first which says, say if thou rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters. Macbeth says, call him, let me see him. One which says, pour in sow's blood, and the hath eaten her 9 furrow, grease and sweaten from the murderer's gibbet, throw into the flame. They all say, come high or low, thyself and office deftly show. Thunder strikes, so you thunder roars, and Macbeth says, tell me thou unknown power. One which says, he knows thy thought, hear the speech, but say thou not. The one apparition, Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife, dismiss me, enough. And then descends. Macbeth says, what thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou the heart to my fear are right. But one word more. The first which says, he will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first. The thunder roars again. And the second apparition comes above. Macbeth, 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 had I 3 ears, had I hear thee? Be bloody, bold, and result. Laugheth the scorn, the power of a man, for none the woman born shall harm Macbeth. Flip the page. Macbeth says, then live, Macduff, what need I fear thee? But yet I'll make an assurance double sure, and take the bond of fate, thou shalt not live. And I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite thunder. The thunder, the third apparition. And Macbeth continues by saying, what is this that rises like an issue of a king, and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty? They all say, listen, but speak not to it. The third apparition says, be lion-mettled proud, take no care, who chafes, who frets, or who conspires are. Macbeth shall never vanquish, be until the great Burnman wood to high Dushanane hill shall come against him. And then descends. Macbeth says, that will never be. Who can impress the forest, bid the tree, and fix his earthbound root? Sweep ornaments good, rebellious dead, rise never, till the wood of Burnham rise of our high place Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to the time of the mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know the one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in the kingdom? They all say, seek to know no more. Macbeth says, I will be satisfied, deny me this, and then the eternal curse fall of you. Let me know why the skins of cauldron and what noises. The hot boys, hot boys. One which says show, second which says show, the third which says show. And they all say, show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart. A show of 8 kings, the last with a glass in his hand. Banquo's ghost following. Oh, I'm so tired. Macbeth says to the first king in the show, thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down, thy crown does sear mine eyeballs. To the second king he says, and thy hair, thou other gold brown brow is the first. To the witches he said, a third is like a former, filthy hags. Why do you show me this? A fourth, start, eyes. What, will the line stretch out, the crack of doom? Another yet, the seventh, I'll see no more, and yet the 8th appears, who bears a glass, which shows me many more. And some I see that I twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight, now I see it is true. For the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me, and points at them for his. What, is this so? One which says, Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly, Come, sisters, cheer we up his spirits, and show the best of our lights. I'll charm the air and give a sound, while you perform your antic round. That is the great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay. The music starts playing, the witches dance and vanish with hectate. And now we have no viewers, and I'm not surprised because, like, holy, we are deep in this book. Macbeth says, where are they? Gone? Let this precious hour stand I accursed in the calendar. Come in, without there. Enter Lennox. Lennox, what's your grace's will? Okay. Macbeth says, saw you the weird sisters? Lennox says, no, my lord. Macbeth says, come they not by you? Lennox says, no, indeed, my lord. Macbeth says, infected by the air within their ride, and damned all those that trust them. I did hear the galloping of a horse, whose as it came by. Lennox says, oh, thank you, Josh, appreciate it. Lennox says, it was 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word. Macduff is fled to England. Macbeth says, fled to England? Lennox says, aye, my good lord. Macbeth says, time thou surpass my dread exploits. The flighty purpose of the overtook, unless the deed go with it. For from this moment, the very firstlings of the heart shall be the firstlings of my hand, and even now the crown of my thoughts with axe, be it thought and done. The castle of Macduff will surprise to seize upon Fife. Give it the edge, o the sword, his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool, this indeed I'll do, before the purpose cool. But no more sights. He says to Lennox, where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are. And then they leave. And that's the end of Act 4, Scene 1. And we are very close to finishing this book right now. I'm kind of hyped. So there's only 4 scenes in Act 4. So we're a fourth of the way through the second last act. So the beginning of Scene 2, it takes place in a room in Macduff's castle. So let's keep it going. We got Lady Macduff, her son, and Ross. And here's what they have to say. Lady Macduff starts off by saying, what had he done and make him fly the land? Ross says, he must have patience, madam. Lady Macduff says, he had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors. Ross said, you know not whether it takes his wisdom or his fear. Lady Macduff says, wisdom, to leave his wife, leave his babies, his mansion, his titles, and his place from whence himself does fly. He loves us not. He wants a natural torch. For the poor wren of the most diminutive of birds will flight. Her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is fear, and nothing is love. A little is the wisdom, where the flight so runs against all reason. Ross says, my dearest cause, I pray you, school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise. I can't pronounce these words, man. And they are annoying the fuck out of me. I think it's Judicious. Holy. And best knows the fits the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we are traitors, and do not know ourselves when we hold rumor, and do from what we fear. Yet know what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea. Each way I move, I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward to what were before. Ross says to her son, my pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Lady Macduff says, fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless. Ross says, I'm so much a fool. Should I stay longer? It would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once. And Ross exits. Lady Macduff says to Ross's son, Sierra, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? As birds do, mother. What will the son says, as birds do, mother. Lady Macduff says, what will worms and flies? What with worms and flies? Son said, with what I get. I mean, and so do they. Lady Macduff says, poor bird. Thou'st never fear the net, nor lime, the pitfall, nor the gin. Son says, why should I, mother? Poor birds, they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying. Lady Macduff says, yes, he is dead. How will thou do for a father? The son says, nay, how will you do for a husband? Lady Macduff says, why, I can buy me a 20 at any market. The son says, then you'll buy him to sell again. Lady Macduff says, thou speak it with all thy wit, and yet I faith and wit enough thee. The son says, was my father a traitor, mother? And Lady Macduff says, that he was. The son says, what is a traitor? Lady Macduff says, why, one that swears and lies. The son says, and be all traitors that do so? Lady Macduff says, everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. What the fuck? Son says, and must they all be hanged that swear and lie? Lady Macduff says, everyone. Son, who must hang them? Lady Macduff says, why, the honest men. Son says, then the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers in row to beat the honest men and hang up them. Lady Macduff says, now God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father? The son says, if we were dead, I'd weep for him. If you would not, if it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. Lady Macduff says, poor prattler, know thou talkest it. Enter a messenger. Bless you, fair dame, I am not to you known. Through in your state of honor I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not found here. Hence with your little ones to fright thus. Methinks I'm too savage. To do the worst you were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven persevere, I dare you a bit no longer. Oh, but the messenger said that, by the way, as he entered the room. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. Lady Macduff says, whither should I fly? I have done no harm, but I remember now I am in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable. To do good sometime, account to dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up with a womanly defense? To say I have done no harm, what are these faces? The murderers enter. Murderer, where is your husband? Murderer says, where is your husband? Lady Macduff says, I hope in no place so unsatisfied, where such as thou mayst find him. The murderer says, he's a traitor. The son says, thou least thou shalt herd villain. Murderer says, what, you egg? Stabbing him. Murderer says, young fry of treachery. The son says, he has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. The son dies. The son dies. Why? The son was innocent. Lady Macduff exits, crying murder, and pursued by the murderers. That's sad, and that's the end of scene 2. Act 4, scene 2. Man. That was a sad moment of the story. That actually kind of was intense. That's the only intense part of the story so far, other than there's been 2 murders, the only 2 good parts. Oh, we're about to hit 2 hours. We got an hour and 59 minutes. Okay. Man, I'm sitting here for so long. Oh. I just want to sit here for a sec. Oh man, I just need to take a little bit break. It actually hurts to talk that much. My lips are so chapped and my throat hurts so bad. I'm just gonna wait. When 2 hours hits, I'm gonna start right up on Act 4, Scene 3 right away. I gotta check my phone. Nothing. I don't think it's anything important. Hope not. Man, I get so fucking sad when there's 0 people in here. Fuck. Oh, 2 hours. Let's keep going. So, scene 3 takes place in England in a room in the king's palace. That is where scene 3 takes place. We got Malcolm and Macduff in the scene. So let's keep going. Malcolm says, Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty. Macduff says, Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men bestride our downfall birthdom. Enter new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows. Now flip the page. I'm assuming Macduff continues. Yeah, Macduff continues by saying, Strike heaven on the face that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like a syllable of dollar, sorry. Malcolm says, What I believe I'll wail, what no believe, and what I can redress, as I shall find the time to friend I will, what you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This Triant, whose sole name blisters our tongues, was once thought honest. Oh, you, that's such a simple word and I couldn't pronounce it. Was once thought honest. You have loved him. Well, he hath not touched me yet. I am young, but something. You may deserve of him through me, and wisdom, to offer up a weak and poor innocent lamb. It appease an angry God. Macduff says, I am not treacherous. Malcolm says, but Macbeth is, and a good vitreous nature may recoil in an imperial change. But I shall crave your pardon, that which you are my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, through the brightest fell. Though all things foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so. Macduff says, I have lost my hopes. Malcolm says, perchance even there, where I did find my doubts, why in the rawness left you, wife and child, those precious motivates and strong notes of love, without leave talking. I pray you, let not my jealousness be your dishonors. But mine, oh my God, my lose. But my own but my own safeties. But my own safeties. You may be rightly just. Whatever I shall think. Macduff says, Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy bias sure. For goddess dare not check thee, were thou thy wrongs. The title is afeard. Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkest. Now we flip the page, and Macduff continues by saying, For the whole space that is in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot. Malcolm says, Be not offended. I speak not of an absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right. And here, from gracious England, have I offer a godly thousands. But for all this, when I shall thread upon the tyrant's head, or wear on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed. Macduff says, What should he be? Malcolm says, It is myself. I mean, I'm whom I know all the particulars of a vice so grafted. What when they shall be open, Black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state of esteem him as a lamb, being compared with his confinelessness, harms. Macduff says, Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in Elvis to the top Macbeth. Malcolm says, I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden malicious, smacking of every sin, that his name, but there's no bottom. None in my voluptuousness, your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust and my desire. All content impediments of the overbear that did oppose my will, better Macbeth than such at one the reign. Holy, that one was hard. Macduff says, Boundless intemperance, in nature of the tyranny, it hath been the ultimate emptying of the happy throne. Macduff continues by saying, and fall of many kings, but fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwinked that a vulture in you to devour so many as will the greatness and dedicate themselves to finding it so inclined. Malcolm says, with this there grows the most ill-composed affection, such as a staunchest avarice, that where a king I should cut off the nobles of their lands, desire his jewels, and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce. The make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and the loyal, destroying them for wealth. Macduff says, the avarice sticks deeper grows, and more... What? I keep seeing stuff. This avarice six deeper grows with more the precious root than some seeming lust, and it hath been the sword and our slain kings, yet do not fear. Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will of your mere own. All these are portable, with our graces weighed. Malcolm says, but I have none. The king becoming gracious, as justice, variety, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, loneliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of the each several crime, acting in many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of the Conrad into hell. Uproar the universal peace, confound all of the unity of death. Macduff says, O Scotland, O Scotland. Malcolm says, if such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken. Macduff says, fit to govern? No, not to live, O nation miserable. With an untitled tyrant, bloody sceptred, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? Since that is the truest issue of thy throne, at his own interdiction, stands accused, and does blaspheme his breed. The royal father was at most sainted king. The queen that bore thee, oftener upon her knees than on her own feet, died every day she lived. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself hath banished me in Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here. Malcolm says, Macduff, in a noble passion, child of the integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scalps, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains hath thought to win me into this power, and the modest wisdom plucks me from over credulous haste, but God above deal between thee and me. For even now I put myself in thy direction, and unspeak mine own declaration, here abjure. The taints and the blames I laid upon myself are strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to a woman. Never was foresman, scarcely have coveted what was mine own. At no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his follow and delight. No less in the truth than life, my first false speaking was this upon myself, when I am truly what I am truly is thine, and my poor country's to command, whither indeed, before thy here approach, old Seward, with 10,000 warlike men already up at a point, was setting forth. Now we'll be together, and the chance of goodness be like our warranted quarrel. Why are you silent? Macduff says, such welcome and unwelcome things at once. It is hard to reconcile. Enter a doctor. Oh, thank you. And I will, Ellis. I'm not stopping, man. I'm finishing this book, and this is what I have read. This is what I'm reading still. So we still got a little while to go. Malcolm says, well, more ain't. Oh, I should be holding the book up here. Well, more anon comes king forth, I pray you. Oh, sorry. Malcolm says, well, more anon to the doctor. He says, comes the king forth, I pray you. The doctor says, aye, sir, there are a crew of wretched souls that stay his cure. Their malady convinces the great essay of art, but at his touch, such sensicity hath heaven given his hand, they presently amend. Malcolm says, I thank you, doctor. and the doctor leaves. Macduff says, what the disease he means? Malcolm says, tea is called the devil. Sorry, it is called the devil. A most miraculous work in this good king, which often since here remain in England, I have seen him do. How he salits heaven himself best knows, but strangely visited people, all swollen and euchlorous, pitiful of the eye, the mere despair of surgery he cures, hanging the golden stamp about their necks, put on with holy papers, and it is spoken to be succeeding royalty he leaves, and a healing benediction. With the strange virtue he hath heavenly gift of a prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne that speak him full of grace. Enter Ross. Macduff says, see who comes here. Malcolm says, my countryman, but yet I know him not. Macduff says, my ever gentle cousin, welcome hither. Malcolm says, I know him now. Good God, betimes remove the means that make us strangers. Ross says, sir, amen. Macduff stands Scotland where it did. Ross says, alas, poor country. I'm so bored of this book. Oh, wait. Shit. So Ross says, alas, poor country, and then he continues to say, almost afraid to know itself, it cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing... Oh, 1 second, I'm a little too close. Where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile, where sighs and groans and shrieks to rend the air are made not marked, where violent sorrows seem and modern ecstasy, the dead man's knell, is there to scarce asked for who. A good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying on the eerie sicken. Macduff says, oh, relation, too nice and yet too true. Malcolm says, what's the newest grief? Ross says, that of an hour's age doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teems a new one. Macduff says, how does my wife? Ross says, why, well. Macduff says, and all my children. Ross says, well, too. Macduff, the tyrant has not battered at their place? Ross, no. Ross says, no. They were well at peace when I did leave them. Macduff says, be not niggard of your speech. How goes it? Ross says, when I came hither to transport tidings, which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumor of many rudderless fellows so that were out, which was, to my belief, witness the rather, for now I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now it is time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers, make our women fight, and to doff their dire distresses. Oh my God. Malcolm says, be it their comfort. We are coming thither. Gracious England hath let us good Seward and the 10,000 men, and then flip the page. Malcolm continues to say, an older and better soldier none the Christian dome gives out. Ross says, would I could answer this comfort with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert air, where hearing should not latch them. Macduff says, what concern they? The general cause, or is it the fee grief? Do some single breast. Ross says, no mind that's honest, but in the shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone. Macduff says, if it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly let me have it. Ross says, let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possesses them with the heaviest sound that ever they heard. Macduff, humph, I guess at it. Ross says, your castle is surprised, your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner, we're on the quarry of the murdered deer to add to the death of you. Merciful heaven, Malcolm says. Malcolm continues to say, what man never pull your hat upon your brows, give sorrows and the grief, it does not speak of whispers over fought heart, and bids it break. So I'll move this a little bit forward. Macduff says, my children too? Ross says, wife, children, servants, all that could be found. Macduff says, and I must be from thence. My wife killed too. Ross, I've said. Malcolm, be comforted. Uh, Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure the deadly grief. Macduff says he has no children. All my pretty ones, did you say all? Oh, Hellkite, all? What, all my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop? Malcolm says to dispute it like a man. Macduff says, I shall do so. But I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things were most precious to me. I did heaven look on. I would not take their part. Sinful Macduff, that they were struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own dermits, but for mine. Fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now. Malcolm says, be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert the anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it. Macduff says, oh, I could not pay the woman with mine eyes, and begart with my tongue. But gentle heavens, cut short all intermission, front to front, bring thou the fiend of Scotland and myself. Within my sword's length set him. If he escape, heaven forgive him too. Malcolm says, the time goes manly. Come go, we go to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is ripe for shaking, and the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day. And then they all leave. And that is the end of Act 4, Scene 3. And that is also the act of end 4, because there's actually only 3 scenes. I thought there was 4, but there's only 3. So now we're going on to Act 5. And I believe Act 5 would be the final act. I'm just going to take a look. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, my God. Yes. Okay, so Act 5 is definitely the last act. So I've made it to the last act that I'm about to read. But the problem is that Act 5 has 9 scenes, which is going to be so damn long to read. Think about it. If we just did Act 4, which took about 20 minutes, and it only had 3, and this one has 9, so 3 times 20 is an hour. So we got another hour to go, pretty much, assuming. Five acts in, 2 water bottles in. Ugh. Ew, I miss my garbage. Okay. So, now we are going to read Act 5, Scene 1. Here we go! Oh my God, I got to stay hyped. Keep doing this. Focus. Yep, so we got Act 5, Scene 1. That's what we're doing right now. This is what we've read. This is what we've read. And this is what we have to read. So let's get it done. So, Act 5, Scene... Oh, wait. No, that's not where it starts. Oh, okay. Act 5, Scene 1 starts in a room in a castle with the doctor of a psychic and a waiting gentlewoman. The doctor says, I have 2 nights' watch with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. One was that she last walked. The gentlewoman says, since His Majesty went to the full field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed, yet all this while almost fast asleep. A great perturbation in nature to receive at once is the benefit of sleep, and do the effects of watching. In the slumbery agitation, besides her, walking in the other actual performances, what, at any time, have you heard her say? A gentlewoman says, oh, sorry, so the doctor said that. And then the gentlewoman says, that, sir, which I will not report after her. The doctor says, you may to me, and it is the most meet you should. The gentlewoman says, neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Enter Lady Macbeth with a taper. I don't know what a taper is. I don't know if like you guys know. There's one person in here, but I'm gonna put it in the thing. I'm gonna ask what a taper is, and maybe you guys can answer for me. Yeah, I'm typing with one hand. But what is a taper? And here we go. Yeah. Okay. And the gentlewoman continues as Lady Macbeth walks in with the taper and says, "Lo you, here she comes. So this is her very guise, and upon my life, fast asleep observers stand close." The doctor, "How came she by that light?" "Why?" And the gentlewoman says, "Why, it stood by her. She has the light by her continually. It is her command." The doctor says, "You see, her eyes are open." The gentlewoman says, "Aye, but their senses are shut." um, I know, Ethan. I didn't think I was going to be going this long either. Just kidding. I knew I'd follow through with this shit. Plus, it's actually benefiting me, like at the same time though, because I gotta get this done anyway. So it's kind of like a win-win. You dig? Yeah, I dig. So now we're going on to the next page. After the gentlewoman says, the senses are shut," and the doctor says, "Taper. Oh, diminish or reduce or causes diminish or the thickness towards one end." So she came. Oh, thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. That really kind of changes the atmosphere. So when she came in with the taper, it's kind of more like attitude towards the doctor and the gentlewoman. Yeah, dig. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to continue. The doctor says, "What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands." The gentlewoman says, "It is an accustomed action with her. To seem thus, washing her hands, I have known her continue in this quarter of an hour." Lady Macbeth says, "Yet here's a spot." Doctor says, "Hark, she speaks. I will set down what comes from her, to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly." Lady Macbeth says, "Out damned spot, out I say. 1, 2, why? Then it is time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and a feared. What need we fear who knows it, when no one can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood within him?" The doctor says, "Do you mark that?" Lady Macbeth says, "The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What will these hands never be clean? No more over that, my lord, no more over that. You mar all with this starting." The doctor says, Go to. You have known what you should not." Gentlewoman says, "She has spoke what she should not. I am sure that heaven knows what she has known." Lady Macbeth says, "Here's the smell of the blood. Still, all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh," it says. And then the doctor says, what a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged." The gentlewoman says, "I would not have such a heart in my bosom for a dignity of the whole body." The doctor says, "Well, well, well." And then the gentlewoman says, "Pray God it be, sir." Next page. Oops. Starts with the doctor. "The disease is beyond my practice, yet I have known those which who have walked in their sleep, who have died hollowly in their beds." That's scary. Lady Macbeth says, "Wash your hands, put on your nightgown, look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo is buried. He cannot come out of his graves." And then doctor says, "Even so?" And Lady Macbeth says, to bed, to bed. There's a knocking at the gate. Come, 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 come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed." The doctor says, "Will she go now to bed?" The gentlewoman said directly. Doctor said, "Foul whisperings are aboard. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she can divine, like that the physician. God, God, forgive us all. Look after her. Remove her the means of all annoyance. To keep eyes upon her. So good night. And mind she has mated and amazed my sight. I think but dare not speak." The gentleman says, "Good night, good doctor." And that is the end of Act 5, Scene 1. I'm very happy we got that first one done. We are very close to the ending. And I'm super excited to get this done. So for Act 5, Scene 2, it takes place in the country near Dunesane. It legit says Dunesane. I don't know where that is. I don't know why or where that takes place in the story, but it says that. And they enter with drums and colors, Menteith, Caithness, Angus and Lennox, and soldiers. So we'll start with Menteith. The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenge is burning them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Angus says, near Burnham Wood, near Burnham Wood, shall we all meet them? That way, are they coming? Oh, sorry, I got the hiccups. Caithness says, who knows if Donald Blaine be with his brother? Lennox says, for certain, sir, he is not. I've a file of all the gentry. There's a Seward's son, and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood. Menteith says, what does the tyrant? Caithness says, great disdain, he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others, the lesser hate him, do call it valiant fury. But for certain, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. Angus says, now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands? Now minulity. Oh my God, I hate these words. And it says, now minutely revolts the upbraid, his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command. Nothing in love. Now does he feel his title. Hang loose about him, like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish. Legit says dwarfish. Swear to God. Menteith. Who then shall blame his prostered senses to recoil and start when all of the within him does condemn itself for being there? Caithness says, well, march we on. Next page. And so Caithness says, march we on, and she continues to say, to give the obedience where it is truly owed, meet the medicine of the sickly wheel, and with him pour we, in our country's purged, each drop of us. Lennox says, or so much as it needs to do the sovereign flower and drown the seeds, make we our march towards Burnham. And that is the end of Act 5, Scene 2. We are making our way through this. Oh my God, I'm losing my voice. Literally, I have the sorest throat right now. Oh, shit. I'm accidentally typing with my book. Gotta apply that chapstick because my fucking lips are like cracking up like a bitch from talking so much. Not gonna lie. So yeah, let's keep it going. Act 5, Scene 3 takes place in the same spot, that Dunesane motherfucker, except it takes room in a castle, not outside this time. Starts. Oh, and Macbeth and the doctor and the attendants all enter the room in the castle. Macbeth says, bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Till Burnham would remove the Dunesane. I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of a woman? The spirits that know all mortals' consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall ever have power upon thee. Then fly false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by, and the heart I bear, shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. Enter a servant. The devil damn thee black, thou cream-faced loon. Where got's it thou that goose look? The servant says, there's 10,000, interrupted by Macbeth, saying, geese, villain? And the servant says, soldier, sir. Macbeth says, go, prick thy face, and overread fear. Thou lily-liver boy, what soldier's patch? Death of thy soul, those linen cheeks of thine, our counselors to fear. What soldiers we face? The servant says, the English force so please you. Macbeth says, take thy face hence, exit servant. Like the servant leaves, and then he says, Satan, I'm sick at heart. When I behold Satan, I say, this push will cheer me ever, or to seat me now. I have lived long enough, my way of life. I fall into the sear, the yellow leaf, and the which should accompany an old age as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, and I must not look to have. But in their stead, curses, not loud, but deep, mouth, honor, breathe, which the poor heart would fain deny, and dare not Satan. Enter Satan. What's your gracious pleasure? Macbeth says, what news more? Satan says, all is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. Macbeth says, I'll fight till from my bones, my flesh be hacked, give me my armor. Satan says, it is not needed yet. Macbeth says, I'll put it on, send out more horses, scur the country round, hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. To the doctor, he says, how does your patient, doctor? The doctor says, not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Macbeth says, cure of that. Canst thou not minister to mine the disease? Pluck me from the memory of the rooted sorrow. Raise the written troubles of the brain. And with some... Oh, shit. I hate it when my computer does stupid shit like that. Sorry, where was I? Brain and some sweet, oblivious antidote. Cleanse with the suffed bosom of the perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart. And I lost all my viewers again. The doctor says, Therine, the patient, must minister to himself. Macbeth says, throw psychic. No, it's physic. Throw physic to the dogs, all none of it. To Satan, he says, come, put mine armor on, give me my staff. Satan, send out. To the doctor, he says, doctor, the thanes fly from me. To Satan, he says, come, sir, dispatch. To the doctor, he says, if thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound of the pristine health. I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. To Satan, he pulled it off, and I say, to the doctor, he said, rhubarb senna or what purgative drug would score of the English hence? Here's to thou of them. Doctor said, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something. Macbeth says to Satan, bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Disnane. The doctor, aside, says, we oh my god, were I from Disnane, away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here. And that is the end of Act 5, Scene 3. We are now getting on to Scene 4, Act 5. So we have 5 more scenes to go, and then we are finished Macbeth. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so tired. I've been sitting here for so long. My back is so sweaty. Biggest sweat stain on my chair right now. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's finish this up. Okay. Fuck. Just stay still. So scene 4 starts off country near Disnane, which is that main town in England. A wood in view. I don't know what that means, but it says wooden view. Enter with drum and colors. Malcolm, Old Seward, and his son, Macduff, Menteith, Caithness, Angus, Lennox, Rose, soldiers marching. We got everybody right now. And let's go. Scene 5, Act 5. Scene 4, Act 5. Malcolm says, cousins, I hope the days are near at hand, that chambers will be safe. Menteith, we doubt it nothing. Seward says, what wood is there before us? Menteith says, the wood of Burnham. Malcolm says, let every soldier hew him down a bow. Oh my goodness. Hew him down a bow and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host and make discovery and report of us. The soldiers say, it shall be done. Seward says, we learn no other but the confident Triant keeps still in Ducenane and will endure our setting down before it. Malcolm says, it is his main hope. For where there is advantage to be gone, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none the serve with him but constrained things whose hearts are absent too. Macduff says, attend the true event and put we on industrious soldiership. Seward says, the time approaches that will, with due decision, make us know what we shall say we have, and what we owe, thoughts speculative, their unsure hopes relate, but certain issue strokes must arbitrate towards which advance the war. Okay, that was a really short scene 4 because now we're already back into scene 5 right now. So we're Act 5, Scene 5. And we're just gonna go straight into that because that one was short. So this one takes place. Ducenane, within the castle, enter with a drum and colors, Macbeth and Satan and the soldiers. So here we go. Macbeth, hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still, they come. Our castle strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie. And he continues to say, till famine and the ague, it just says ague, till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced to those that should be ours? We might have met them dareful, beard to beard, and bear them backward home. A cry within of woman. What is that noise? Satan, is that the cry of woman, my good lord? Macbeth says, I have almost forgotten the taste of fears. The time has been. My senses would have cooled. The hear of the night shriek, and my fell of hair. Would a dismal treatise rouse and stir, as life were in it. I've supped full with horrors, direness, familiar of the slaughterous thoughts cannot once start me. Re-enter Satan. Wherefore was that cry? Wherefore was that cry? Satan says, the queen, my lord, is dead. Macbeth says, she should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in the petty face of from day to day. The last syllable of the recorded time, to all the yesterdays of lightened fools, the day of the dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that stunts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is the tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Enter a messenger. This is when the messenger enters the room. Macbeth continues, and he says, thou comest to use thy tongue, the story quickly. The messenger says, gracious my lord, I should report that which I saw, but know not how to do it. Flip the page. Messenger. Oh, Macbeth says, well, say, sir. A messenger says, as I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked towards Burnham, and anon, methought, the wood began to move. Macbeth said, liar and slave. Messenger said, let me endure your wrath. If it be not so, within the 3 mile may you see it coming. I say a moving grove. Macbeth said, if thou speak false upon the next sorry. If thou speakest false upon the next tree, shalt thou hang alive, till fan cling thee. If thy speech be smooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in the resolution and begin to doubt in the equivocation of the fine that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham wood does come to Ducenane. Now a wood comes towards Ducenane. Arm, and out. If this is which he avouches does appear, there is nor flying hence, nor tarrying here. I gin to be awary of the sun, and wish the estate, the world, were now undone. Ring the alarm bell, blow, wind, come crack. At least she'll die in the harness of our back. Okay, that is Act 5, Scene 6, completely finished. Another short scene. See, there's a lot of short scenes in Act 5, but there's a lot of scenes. So there's 9 scenes in Act 5, but each scene is only like 3 pages long, so it's pretty good. So now we're gonna move straight into scene 6. Actually, I'm gonna take a sip because I was coughing a bit at the end there. So we got scene 6 coming up, Act 5, and right now it's at the same place, a plane before the castle. Okay, enter with the drums and colors, Malcolm, Old Seward, Macduff, and then their army and everything else that comes with that. Okay, so let's get into it. Malcolm says, "Now, near enough. Your leafy screens throw down, and show like those you are. The old Seward, you worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle, worthy Macduff, and we shall take upon what else remains to do." Page. Malcolm continues by saying, "According to our order," and that's all. Seward says, "Fare you well. Do we find but the tyrant's power tonight? Let us be beaten if we cannot fight." Macduff says, "Make all our trumpets speak, give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death." Oh, wow, that was a short scene. That is scene 6, finished. Now we are on to scene 7, which takes place in the exact same place, but now enter Macbeth. It's a different part of the plane, so it's on a different plane. Because, like, if Macbeth showed up, there'd be fucking fighting and shit. So this is on a different plane, across from the plane that Seward and all of them are on. So let's go! We got Macbeth speaking first. "They have tied me to the stake. I cannot fly, but bear-like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one I am fear or none. Enter young Seward. Young Seward, what is thy name?" Macbeth said, "Thou'lt be afraid to hear it." Young Seward says, "No, thou callest to thyself a hotter name than any is in hell." Macbeth said, "My name's Macbeth." Young Seward, "The devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear." Macbeth said, "No, nor more fearful." Young Seward said, "Thou least, abhorred tyrant. With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speakest." Oh, there's about to be a fight. They fight. But young Seward is slain. So Macbeth wins that fight. Macbeth says, "Thou was born of a woman, but swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn. Brandished by man, that's a woman born." Alarms! Enter Macduff. Sorry. Oh, shit. Macbeth exits, and then alarms go off. Macduff enters to see, I'm assuming, Seward, the young Seward. Oh my god, you. Okay, Macduff says, "That way the noise is," calling to Macbeth. "Tyrant, show thy face. It shall be slain with no stroke of mine. My wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike the wretched Crennis, whose arms are hired to bear their slaves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword, with an unbatted edged, I sheath again undeed. The there thou shouldst be, by the great clatter, and one of the greatest notes seems brighted, I want to say. Aside, let me find him. Fortune and more I beg not. Enter Malcolm and old Seward. Seward, this way, my lord. The castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is due." Malcolm says, "We have met with foes that strike beside us." Seward says, "Enter, sir, the castle." And then they all leave, and the alarm goes off again. Oh, and that's the end of scene 7. Now we are on scene 8. Here we go. Scene 8, Act 5. So this is another part of the field. So they're just in a field, and they just keep going on and on, okay? Actually, here, I'm just going to take a quick piss. I'll be right back. It's from drinking like 4 water bottles throughout this thing. So, yeah, I'll be 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. And ready to finish this story. Oh, I just gotta shut my door real quick. 1 sec. Let's do this. Scene 8, Act 5. Here we go. I think I started already. I'm not sure though. So I might just, yeah, I'm gonna restart it. Okay. So another part of the field, and right now it's just Macbeth entering. Macbeth says, "Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword, whilst I see lives, the gashes do better upon them? Enter Macduff." Macduff says, turn, hellhound, turn." Macbeth says, "Of all men else I have avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul's too much charged with blood of thine already." Macduff says, "I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou bloodier villain, the terms can give thee out." They fight. Whoa, they fight. Macbeth says, thou lostest labor, and easy mayest thou in the intrenchant air with thy keen sword impress, as it makes me bleed. Let fall thy blade in the vulnerable crest. I bear the charmed life, which must not yield to one of a woman born. Macduff says, "Despair thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee, Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped." What the hell does that mean? And anyways, okay, keep going. Macbeth says, "Accursed be that tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowered my better part of a man, and be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us the double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee." Macduff says, "The yield thee, coward, and live to the show of the gaze o' the time. We'll have thee of of our rare monsters are," and he continues to say, "painted upon a pole under right, here may you see the tyrant." Macbeth says, "I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rebel's curse. Though Burnham would be come Dusenane, and thou opposed, being no woman born, yet I will try the last before my body. I throw my warlike shield, lay on Macduff, and damned be him that first cries, 'Hold, enough!' He's on fighting. Alarms, re-entering fighting, and Macbeth is slain. Macbeth is slain. Oh shit! This guy got slain. Guys, Macbeth died. Macduff. Wait, yeah, Macduff won the fight. That's the end of scene 8. But there's still one more scene, and I'm pretty sure this is what's gonna kind of like wrap it up. Scene 9 takes place within the castle. Retreat. Flourish. Enter the. Oh, I know, eh, Josh? That's crazy, eh? Yo, we're gonna be so ahead in English when we go back. Retreat the flourish. Enter with drum and colors. Malcolm, Old Seward, Ross, and the thanes and the soldiers. That's who are all involved in scene 9. So scene 9 starts off with Malcolm saying, "I would the friends we miss were safe arrived." Seward says, "Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great at the day, and this cheaply bought." Malcolm says, "Macduff is missing, and your noble son." Ross says, "Your son, my lord, has paid the soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner his powerness confirmed is the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died." Seward said, "Then is he dead?" Ross says, "Aye, and I brought off the field. I brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, and then it hath no end." Seward says, had he his hurts before?" Ross says, "Aye, on the front." Seward says, "Why then God's soldiers be he?" So Seward continues to say, "Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not have wished them a fairer death, and so his knell is annulled." Malcolm says, "He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him." Sword says, "He's worth no more than say he parted well, and paid his score, and so God be with him. Here comes newer comfort." Enter Macduff, and Macbeth said, Oh shit. Enter Macduff with Macbeth's head. He cut his head off. Holy. Macduff is a savage. So Macduff comes in and he says, Hail King, for so thou art, behold where stands the upstart cursed head. The time is free. I see them compassed with the kingdom's pearl, that speak my solution in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail King of Scotland. And then they all say, Hail King of Scotland. Flourish. Malcolm says, we shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves, and make us even with you. The thanes and kingsmen henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honored named. What's more to do, which would be plainted newly with the time as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of the watchful tyranny, production forth of the cruel ministers of the dead butcher, and a friend like queen, who as it bought by self-violent hands, took off her life. And it's a needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace. We will perform in measure, time and place, so thanks to all at once, and to each one whom we invite to see the crowned Ascone, the flourish, accent. And that's it! That's the book! Wait, I think it is. Yeah, that's Macbeth. That is Macbeth, finished in one sitting. 2 hours, 51 minutes, and like 45 seconds. I'm going to give this book a rate. I'm going to rate it like 3 out of 10. I didn't understand half of it. So, ends up, Macbeth slain, holds the head, and then, yeah. That's the story of Macbeth. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in. It's been Spaghetti Bendy here with another video, dedicating myself to finishing this book in one sitting, and I did it. 3 water bottles and 5 acts, and like 40 scenes. So be sure to tune in for the next video. I'll probably be uploading sometime next week. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for participating in this stream where I have finished Macbeth. I will see you guys soon.